Rick Ross just did an interview with Patrick Bet-David that turned into complete chaos. During the conversation, Rick Ross got visibly upset multiple times when Patrick brought up people and topics he didn't want to discuss. But the more Patrick kept pushing on these controversial subjects, the more Rick Ross would fire back with wild accusations and viral moments. And what's interesting is that Patrick Bet-David seemed to know exactly what he was doing. He was intentionally bringing up these sensitive topics because every single time Rick Ross got defensive or angry, he would generate a viral clip. Patrick understood the assignment. He understood that controversy and conflict drive engagement. The first person that came up that really set Rick Ross off was 50 Cent.
Rozay, the history with you and 50, is it better now? You guys now friends? Like, do you guys talk now, or is it still no relationship?
Nah, homie Wash, we've never been cool.
From day one?
No.
This is a big business you guys are a part of. You guys are two of the heavyweights in the business.
I mean, what is there to talk about?
A lot of things to talk about. History, the beef.
What kind of history? That he couldn't dress? That's all I used to tell him. Yo, you can't dress. You're not really getting no money. You don't own your masters. Eminem saved you. Dr. Dre saved you. All the big names. Rozay did it himself. I came in through slip and slide. I had to build this myself. And I'm not speaking down on him because he live in a 2-bedroom apartment, but
He lives in a 2-bedroom apartment?
2-bedroom. Catch the alley hoop now. You gotta win by Yama, this bitch.
2-bedroom apartment.
Yes, he does. And if he does, what does that say about him? Come on now. Just the alley hoop. Come on now. What does it say about him?
You're saying 50 lives in a 2-bedroom. He just did a big documentary on Diddy that blew up. It was a #1 documentary for like weeks.
They just use him. They'll put his name on there, give him 10K, and that's it. He don't own any of that.
Now, Rick Ross and 50 Cent have been feuding for literally over a decade. They've never been cool, they've never made peace. And there's real history between them, real tension, real beef. But when Patrick brought up their relationship, Rick Ross took the opportunity to go completely off on 50 Cent in ways that were honestly kind of shocking. Rick Ross claimed that Cent lives in a 2-bedroom apartment. Patrick Bet-David expressed his disbelief and argued that his recent Netflix documentary on Diddy held the top spot for weeks. Ross interjected and remarked, "They just use him. They'll put his name on there, give him 10K, and that's it. He don't own any of that." So Rick Ross is saying that 50 Cent didn't actually get paid significantly.
Told his dad, like, yo, Rozay, you know what I'm saying?
Were you guys ever good, the two of you?
Who, his son?
No, you and 50.
No, the son mom used to be on Star Island. And so little man done been there.
I got it. Okay, now I know. I read that story.
And when the mom be in the house doing whatever she doing, the little man done out, you know.
I got it.
Rick offers to buy 50.
So this is great. I mean, it sounds
I
like...
offered to buy the son a puppy just because I knew Bruce Leroy. What?
Significant money for his huge Netflix documentary on Diddy. That the platform just used his name, gave him a small amount of money, and that he has no ownership of any of the content. Then Rick Ross made a claim that 50 Cent lives in a 2-bedroom apartment. When Patrick pushed back and said that can't possibly be true, that 50 Cent has built an empire and is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, Rick Ross doubled down. He said that 50 Cent doesn't own his masters, that Eminem saved him, that Dr. Dre saved him, that all these big names had to help 50 Cent get where he is. But Rick Ross, he came up through his own effort. He built himself up from nothing. He didn't need anyone to save him. Here's the thing, though. Do you think Rick Ross's claims about 50 Cent's wealth are actually accurate? Or is this just classic beef talk where rappers exaggerate and put down their rivals? Let me know what you actually think in the comments, because there's legitimate debate about whether 50 Cent is actually as broke as Rick Ross is claiming. But it gets worse. Rick Ross attached the G-Unit boss, revealing they've never been cool. He shared a story about taking 50's son fishing and offered to let the G-Unit boss clean his yacht. "I'll let 50 wash the bottom of my yacht. I don't like to see nothing green at the bottom. He can get the scuba goggles, the mouthpiece, the fins on his feet, and he could flap like Flipper," Rick Ross joked. This is where it gets genuinely below the belt. Rick Ross is bringing up 50 Cent's young son and telling a story about taking him fishing. He's saying this happened when 50's baby mama was at Diddy's house on...
I know his younger son. I met his younger son. I took his younger son fishing before.
This is when you guys were good?
I call him Bruce Leroy. That's him right there, the little Chinese looking one. Yeah.
Did you say the little Chinese looking?
Yeah, he looked like Bruce Lee, like
Bruce
Chinese.
Leroy.
That's what I call him.
And you took him fishing.
Yeah.
And 50 knew you're taking him fishing.
I don't know. He may have
Star
told.
Island, and she was apparently with Diddy. So while she was busy with Diddy, Rick Ross was taking the son fishing and calling him Bruce Leroy because he said the kid looked like Bruce Lee. And then he's joking about 50 Cent needing to wash his yacht with scuba gear like a flippers. This is disrespectful. This is bringing kids into a beef between grown men. This is crossing lines that shouldn't be crossed. Rick Ross and 50 Cent have done terrible things to each other over the years, and the history is ugly and complicated. But bringing children into it, using someone's son as a punchline, that's different. That's a level of disrespect that's hard to justify no matter how bad the original beef was. But the interview didn't stop there. Patrick kept pushing, and then he brought up someone else that really got Rick Ross heated. He brought up Freeway Rick Ross, the real Rick Ross. And when that name...
About a period of my life that I kept bringing people on because I wanted to find out who killed Tupac. So I brought on Freeway Rick Ross. I don't know what it was, probably 10 years ago. I did podcasts 2 times with him. And he came on and we spoke, and your name came up. Because in the lawsuit, he tried to sue you twice. I've never seen somebody try to sue somebody twice. That at the end, is it true that at the end of the lawsuit, he had to pay for your legal fees?
Name came up, Rick Ross immediately tried to shut it down. He didn't want to talk about it. He tried to get Patrick to change the subject, but Patrick wouldn't let it go. He kept pushing on it. And finally, Rick Ross exploded. Now, most people who follow hip-hop know the story. The rapper Rick Ross named himself after and built his entire persona around the real Freeway Rick Ross. The real Rick Ross was an actual drug kingpin in California who made massive amounts of money in the drug trade. The rapper Rick Ross is a former correctional officer who created a fictional persona based on Freeway Rick Ross's real-life story. When Freeway Rick Ross got out of prison, he sued the rapper Rick Ross because he felt like his life story had been stolen without credit or compensation. The lawsuit failed. The rapper Rick Ross won, and Freeway Rick Ross had to pay the rapper's legal fees. So not only did he lose the case, but he ended up owing money. The rapper Rick Ross absolutely hates talking about this. It's a sensitive subject for him because acknowledging Freeway Rick Ross is essentially admitting
He wasted a lot of people's time. I hope he's coping with the crack addiction that he been dealing with this whole time. And I hope your listeners, I hope you didn't disappoint your listeners listening to that shit. I just hope, man, you gotta maintain a certain level of quality, and you've allowed it to dip
to
a few times.
Putting him on.
I mean, you should go and look at your ratings. Pull up the ratings.
Rob, type in YouTube Rick Ross, Bet David. Let's see how he performed. I don't know actually how he performed, but let's look it up.
Let's look it up.
Type in Bet David and Rick Ross. Watch the cult guy come up first.
that his entire career, his entire persona, his entire image is based on someone else's real life. When Patrick brought this up, Rick Ross started making accusations. He accused Freeway Rick Ross of being a crack user. He said Freeway Rick Ross had been dealing with a crack addiction the whole time. He was dismissive and condescending about it, but here's where it got interesting. Patrick actually pushed back. Patrick said, "Show me the evidence. Pull up the crack. Pull up the smoking crack. Show me the headlines about Freeway Rick Ross smoking crack." And Rick Ross couldn't do it because there wasn't any. Rick Ross was just throwing accusations around without evidence. He was making claims he couldn't back up. And when Patrick asked him to actually prove what he was saying, Rick Ross got frustrated and started making other claims. He said Freeway Rick Ross was an informant, that he cooperated with the government. And Patrick said, "Yeah, we already talked about that. That's why the interview with him did well." Here's what's interesting about Rick Ross's behavior in this moment. He's trying to diminish Freeway Rick Ross because acknowledging Freeway Rick Ross means acknowledging that his entire career is based on fraud. It means admitting that he built his image, his lyrics, his entire persona on someone else's real-life story without giving credit. So instead of engaging honestly with that reality, Rick Ross is trying to discredit Freeway Rick Ross by calling him a crackhead and an informant. He's trying to make Freeway Rick Ross seem irrelevant or unworthy of being discussed, but the numbers don't lie. Patrick pulled up the YouTube views for the interview with Freeway Rick Ross. The video got 1.6 million views.
1.6 million.
The cult guy, you could...
No, but right there, that's Freeway Rick Ross was what, 6 years ago? Click on that. I think it performed pretty well. It did okay, 1.6 million. You want to go to the comment section? Let's see what the audience said.
Rick
That's a
Ross
significant number. That's a successful interview. And when Patrick read the comments section, all the comments were positive toward Freeway Rick Ross and critical of the rapper Rick Ross. People were defending Freeway Rick Ross. People were saying things like, the real Rick Ross interview will probably outperform the rapper Rick Ross interview. And that got under Rick Ross's skin because what it means is that people care about the real story. People are interested in the actual Freeway Rick Ross. People understand that the rapper Rick Ross built his entire career on someone else's real life.
You know, there's people out here that Freeway Rick Ross, he could have used a teeth cleaning. Did you offer him a teeth cleaner?
I should have.
Heavy plaque.
You think so?
Oh man, that's what I'm trying to tell you. And
But you guys never met.
I got a dentist office. We actually was during a lawsuit. Yeah, he reached out to shake my hand, and I didn't shake his hand. He said it in an interview.
He said he called you in 2008, and he said sometime you guys
He never called me.
He said, and you offered to help him or something like that.
That's stop. Big cap. If I offered to help him, why would he sue and not get nothing? Come on, man. You got to be smarter than that.
Without giving proper credit. And that bothers him. It bothers him so much that he can't even have an honest conversation about it. Look, I've got to be real with you. If you want to stay updated on these kinds of stories and these kinds of conversations, you should subscribe to this channel because we break down all the drama and all the details that other people miss. The beef between rappers, the legal issues, the controversies. Subscribe if you want that level of insight, but what's really telling about this whole situation is how defensive Rick Ross gets. The man built one of the most successful careers in hip-hop. He's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He's built an empire. He's got businesses, real estate, all kinds of success. But mention the real Freeway Rick Ross and he loses it. Because deep down, he knows the truth. He knows where his name came from. He knows whose story he built his empire on. And he can't handle honest discussion about it. Patrick Bet David kept pushing on these sensitive topics because he understood that conflict is content. Controversy drives views. When Rick Ross gets angry, when he makes wild accusations, when he brings up 50 Cent's son as a punchline, those are the moments that go viral. Those are the moments that people clip and share and discuss. And Patrick knew that. So he kept bringing up these topics knowing that Rick Ross would react emotionally. The question is whether Rick Ross should have handled this differently. Should he have refused to discuss these topics? Should he have walked out? Or should he have just been honest about the Freeway Rick Ross situation instead of trying to discredit him? That's something worth thinking about, because there's a difference between competitive trash talk between rivals and bringing other people's children into it. There's a difference between standing on your own success and trying to diminish someone else's legitimacy. Rick Ross is one of the greatest rappers of his generation. His albums are classics. His business empire is impressive. His hustle is real. But denying or diminishing the real Freeway Rick Ross, that feels like the one thing he can't actually win at. Because the truth is already out there. People know where the name came from. People know the story. And all the anger and all the accusations in the world won't change that fundamental fact. What do you think about Rick Ross's behavior in this interview? Do you think he was justified in going off on 50 Cent? Do you think bringing up 50 Cent was too far? And do you think Rick Ross should just be honest about his connection to Freeway Rick Ross instead of trying to discredit him? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let me know where you stand on this whole situation. Make sure you subscribe because this is the kind of drama and analysis that we cover constantly. These are the conversations happening in hip-hop that matter. The beefs, the business dealings, the real stories behind the personas. Subscribe now and hit that notification bell so you catch every new video we drop about these kinds of situations. Because there's always more to these stories than what you see on the surface. Ross framed the comments as a taunt about wealth and status, portraying himself as financially superior throughout the exchange. And that's really what this whole interview is about. Rick Ross trying to assert his dominance, trying to prove he's better than everyone else, trying to show he's more successful, more wealthy, more powerful. But what it actually revealed is someone who's insecure about the foundation his career was built on. Peace.